Hi guys, in this tutorial we will continue to work on the arms now. Um, we will look at the muscles from the forearm and the arm. You probably won't be working on the hand. It's a very intricate form, and so we need to actually do that on its own tutorial. Same thing with the foot. So arms today, and in the next tutorial we'll probably work on the legs. So let's get to it. First of all, I will work on the deltoids. So let's grab our clay tubes. Let's make sure that our geometry and all these are open. What we're doing. Lower the intensity on this. For a smooth brush, lower the intensity also. As you guys know, I don't like to work with very strong brushes. Okay, let's get to it. Here we go. So this is the front deltoid. Comes attached to the clavicle. So in this direction. Actually, let's do this. And with Alt, take away. There you go. See from the side, looks good. To raise it up a little bit over here, and then move topological. Needs to be flat right over here. Flatter right over here. There you go. See how it looks at a higher subdivision. So now we need to give a little smoothing. Alright. Get it up a little bit higher. I will use a little bit of clay tubes, get a little bit better definition. Sometimes you do that and it softens up the mask, and that's not what we want. Smoothing out. Okay. Now we'll do the side one. This one comes attached to part of the clavicle at the end and to the scapula. This edge right over here, this is part of the scapula, so that it's nicely shaped, and reverse the mask. Get down, and let's give it some striations, some shaping, and it tucks in this direction. Now, this muscle tends to have separate heads. Or, I don't know if it's head's the correct word, but they do have a lot of striations, deep striations. Particular one right over here. and the stroke right over here. I need to see this lazy mouse, 0.02, and actually 0.002, a little bit of lazy mouse. This might be too much strength. There you go. So let's smooth this out. Good. And with Move Topological, we can give it a little bit better shape. Okay. Now, in a real figure, this line right there that I just made, it's not very evident on most people. Super buff guys, yes, that is probably a very prominent. You guys can probably see it, but on most folks, no, it's not something that will be very evident. So we will cover that later on once we put the skin on this guy. We probably won't keep that. Now let's do the rear deltoid. It's this guy right over here. And as you guys can tell, I had already worked on this, put some of the anatomy on. I'm just reinstating what I have already put in there. Take this out. Whoop, too much. And a lot of you guys will be wondering, why do I spend so much time getting my mask perfect? Well, I rather work on the mask than on the actual sculpt and resculpt and resculpt, and it's just, that gets it, you overwork the figure that way. Okay, and this one comes on the superior spine of the scapula. This clay buildup. Oh, too much. There's clay tubes, what we want. Comes in this direction, and it tucks in right at the same point where the medial head of the deltoid comes, right over here. That. That looks good. Okay, so now we can isolate the arms. We're going to select with Control Shift. We're going to select our Select Lasso tool, and again with Control Shift, we're going to make a selection. Now we could probably go with with visibility and shrink this till we get no body, no part of the body in there, which is what I hopefully what I can get when I'm starting to get into the arm area. Shrink. You know what, I'm going to do this in a better way this way. I'm going to show it all. Shifty till I get to my lower subdivisions. It's easier this way. Shift F. Oh, we already had arms. I had forgotten about that. Well, no need to then. Let's select D. Shift F. And we are at the highest subdivision possible. Let's go Shift D one more. Okay. So we're going to work on the Brachialis, which is this muscle right over here. going to mask it. Let's see, is that doing right? Do this. That's a little too much. All right. That's good. Now let's reverse that mask. Now it seems to me like I had done this muscle a little too thin to begin with. It's not that thin. So let's start. Get a little bit more girth, and this muscle goes. Going to work in this direction. It's a little easier for me. This direction. Belly's right over here. Yep, there you go. Very nice. Okay. And also right here. So I'm going to just get rid of a lot of this mask. It's going to get in my way, obviously. It's too much. Okay. We have the Radialis right up here. And let's mask this area. Back on. There you go. Okay. That's the area that we need masked. Okay, so let's go down in resolution. Let's smooth a lot of that I did earlier. That was a fast job and wasn't necessarily accurate. Tying up that mask by hitting Control Option, you can sharpen it. And let's do this. Keep refining it, I know. Okay, so the Radialis comes from the inside of the shoulder. I mean, from the inside of the arm, where the armpit area is. It's attached to the scapula. It's a separate muscle. And here we go. We're going to start the Radialis. And this guy goes in such a shape. It's not supposed to be that way. And it tucks in. Now this muscle is underneath. As we spoke in class, I already told you guys this, but I'll reiterate it. It's underneath the bicep. It's sandwiched between the bone, the humerus, and the bicep. And is the actual muscle that gives the bicep the most girth. It's a larger muscle than the bicep by far. There you go. It's a little too sharp for my taste, so I'm going to smooth it out. There you go. Yeah, he's got a strong brachialis. There you go. Now, in my opinion, this bicep is way too big. It's not. I'm going to reduce it in size. I went a little bit crazy with it. And I'm going to go back a little bit. There you go. Just soften that up. Actually, soften this up a little bit. Reverse it. I'm going to go lower in subdivisions and move it in. Oops. Actually, I want to also do all of this back. I don't want it to move. I just want this to move into position. I want to make sure that this is straight. Tucked in. Okay. D. And let's give it some texture. Clay build up. Sorry, clay tubes. Sometimes if you keep the button on the pen pushed for a little too long, or you push it twice without even realizing it, that window pops out and just gets in the way. To smooth it out. I just want to bring this in. It's a little too far down. Whoop. I want to create a sharper cut right there. Smooth it out again. I'm going to bring this down a little more. This up a little more. Okay. So that's good. There you go. Now we are going to go work on the Radialis, which is this muscle right over here. That. It's got that really weird shape, odd shape that we were talking about. Belly's right over there, and the tendon of it just tucks in. And then it goes right over here, to the side of the thumb. Make sure that I got it correct. I don't want to make that tendon super thick either, because it's not supposed to. Okay. Bring this down. Oh, we forgot to work on the tricep, but okay. This one goes underneath anyway, so we can work on this. So, let's go to our clay tubes. Just massing this puppy up. Comes from underneath the tricep. And it wraps around the forearm. It's on the front, on the anterior part of the forearm. Lateral and anterior side. Tucks in like that, and into that tendon. Now in muscular guys it can be very noticeable. Have quite a belly. I'm not going to give mine too much though. I'm just going to smooth it out now. Shifty, I'm going to smooth this out quite a bit. And again, I do this because it gives it a little bit of a texture, a very subtle texture that I like. Doesn't make it look all smooth. Oh, very CG, I don't like that. Okay, so we got that there. Now we gotta do the tricep. And I think, let me see. Yeah, we're gonna need to see this whole thing. We're gonna have to mask. Whoa, that is a very strong. Oh, no, 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 no. It's gonna project. We're gonna have to undo that. Alright, and so this is the reason why you always need to turn off Dynamesh. Already reversed it. I'm sorry, not ZBrush, Dynamesh. Turn that off. Okay, so we were going to work on the tricep right before that happened. Perfect. Okay. So, tricep. Let's go clay buildup. And let's have it at that's good. Choice right there. I'm going to carve in a little bit and bring this. This is the long head of tricep. I'll bring it into this position. And it comes like this. belly's right over here in this area. I was using a little bit of clay buildup right there to make larger forms. I'm carving in here a little bit because that's where part of the tendon is. It's a fan tendon. We spoke about fan tendons. They have a lot, they grasp a lot more area. They have a lot more surface area to grab onto the muscle, which tells you that the tricep is a very, very powerful muscle. It does a lot of movements in the arm. One can argue that it's more important than a bicep, and is also the largest muscle in the arm. I'm going to try to get that in there. Oh, want it in this direction. There you go. Okay. Much nicer. Okay. Now the lateral head. So let me move this a little bit further in. This is supposed to be a little bit further in. There you go. Yeah, this is a lot larger head. Let's go into Dam Standard a little bit here to create a new line. There you go. And let's go for clay buildup. And let's actually clay tubes. And this one is sort of straighter up here, creating a roof for the muscle. Create a little more right over here. And reshape this. And value of this one is right up here. This is the lateral or short head of the tricep. Smooth that out. Excuse me. Shift D. Let's give it a little bit better smoothing. There you go. And let me get a Dam Standard right over here. Less intensity, bigger draw size. There you go. There you go. is good like that. Actually, this one. I like that. That's much better. And let's go back to clay tubes. Make sure that we have this right. And I'm carving on this one because it's thinner at the top. There you go. And I like that tricep. It's looking good. This is the tendon of the tricep. I'm going to create a little bit of a line right over here. Now we can't forget the medial head. So let's go for clay tubes and put this form right over here. Actually, let's go back on that. And let's mask this area and this area, and let's go for it. Let's smooth it out slightly. Okay. So we've got that. That's nicely shaped. I'm going to pull it out a little bit. There you go. Very good. Very, very good. Just moved much towards the center. Now you have to reestablish positions right here. Sometimes it can get a little too bloated and wieldy. Things can move while you're sculpting. I think that this should have been more to the towards the center. And so much. Let's see. Maybe from a different perspective, I can see it a little better. Again, I still think that this is too big, but I gotta hold this, soften it up. Right. Again, I feel like I lost a lot of the shape for this muscle. So I'm going to bring it back. And clay tubes. Sometimes I feel like it just there we go. Okay, that's fine. Not gonna fret too much about it. I say fret about it. There you go. Yeah, that's much better. All right. Okay, so now we can move on onto the next muscle, which is this one right over here. That's your extensor carpi radialis longus. Longus. I don't even know how to say that. I'm going to actually let's do that. There you go. And your solo. Let's see. So it comes under. Good. And that's another one that has a really long tendon, although it's mostly hidden, can't really see it, but it goes down over here right alongside the one for the how do you call this guy over here? I tend to forget the name. Okay. Let's go. Let's get this right over here. Radialis. My goodness, took me a while to remember that. Sometimes that happens when you get old. Okay. And let's add the muscle right over here. This one's usually you can see it from the back. Okay. Now we see that. That's good. Well, sometimes this could have been a little higher from that angle. No, I guess it's fine. Let me see. Yeah, I guess it's just fine. Now we're going to add the extensor digitorum and the extensor carpi ulnaris. They both come from this area. They both come together in the same area. Well, I'm going to make, first of all, I'm going to make the alconius, which is a tiny little muscle. Comes across and attaches itself to the ulna. So clay tubes, oops, it's already selected, comes in this direction. Not very noticeable, but it's got to be there. Okay. And now we're going to create this. I'll create the line for these ones. It's easier to make them this way. this one. And they go into tendons that go in the dorsal part of the hand. This is the dorsal part. This is the palmar side. Just so you guys know when I'm referring to dorsal. And this has a dip right over here. That is very obvious on people, on just about everyone. That's right. Okay. Now this muscle right over here, I'm sorry, this one right over here, it's all of this area. It's called the Flexor Carpi Ulnaris, and it covers a lot of the deep flexors of the fingers, the ones that come inside in this area. And it comes pretty much attached on this side to the ulna in this fashion. The ulna is actually visible in this area right here where I'm pushing my cursor, or where I'm gliding the cursor. If you can feel it in your arm, it's actually right there. It's on the surface. So what we're going to do is we're going to mask that. And it goes like this. Let's see if I'm getting this right. And get rid of this. Oh, come on. There we go. And let's give it some that's the direction that it goes into. And right over here, we are going to have here the medial epicondyle of the ulna, and we need to make sure that it's evident. It comes out. It's right over here. This little guy. You have to cut a little bit over here. It's too bulgy at this point. There's muscle there, but it's not that. The form is wrong. It just pops right over here. And you can feel it right on the surface. And I'm just carving in there just to make it obvious that it's there. Now there's a ton of muscles that originate from the medial head of the ulna. and I can name them. The bigger one right over here, it's going to be the actual extensor carpi radialis brevis. The palmaris longus would be the next one. The flexor digitorum superficialis and the flexor carpi ulnaris. They all grow from here, and they tuck right here onto the palmar side of the hand. Usually you can't see them separately. They all form this big old belly right over here, and that's all you can see. But there's 4 or 5 different muscles right in this area that originate from over here. So I can go ahead and put them there. So I'm just going to use the DEM standards, probably easier at this point to do them with that. I go a little bit up in subdivision, and again, this is all this forms will get lost in real human. They all bunched up together. I need to put the pronator teres right over here. It also originates in the same place. It's probably got a little bit. Let's put some clay tubes on it. It originates right there. That belly right. Oops. Strong. And it tucks in there. Okay, now let's do this. Actually, this guy goes directly to the middle of the palm of the hand. It's one of the more prominent tendons that you'll see in your hand. I mean, on your wrist. This muscle comes actually from underneath. It's in this direction. And again, it comes attached there. And there's so many of them that I don't think we have enough geometry here to be able to pull it off. We'd have to go very, very high in subdivisions to be able to catch all of that. Detail. And to be honest with you, it's unnecessary because you won't be able to see them anyway. They'll come from there. This guy. Let's use this DEM standard. I'm sorry. That's what we needed to use for this. One goes to the side. fill this up a little bit better. And again, right now I'm just overworking this and making them just really obvious when they really aren't. These division lines are not very obvious on a real subject. We're just doing it more for the exercise and for the sake of the écorché. They're not the most fun muscles to make, in my opinion. Don't really enjoy making them because they're kind of like there. And there are those kinds of muscles. There are fan muscles, which they go like this, where the tendon goes right in between, goes from the middle. In this fashion. It literally goes like that. See what I mean? Like that. So again, we're going to smooth this out later on to make sure that we get this right under the skin. Reestablishing the Pronator teres. There you go. Make sure that this is correct. It's originating at the medial head of the ulna. Superior medial head, or proximal medial head. I'm going to soften this shape in a little bit better. Make sure that we're getting, I'll actually use this standard for this, a low setting. Let me see how the stroke on this is. I don't like using the standard too much. It gives me this really bumpy and rounded form. In reality, tendons are not necessarily round. They're almost kind of flat, as a matter of fact. Actually, and I did this wrong. This one is supposed to go a little bit further in on this area. Smooth that out. There you go. See, now it's all too bumpy. Don't like it. And the next muscle is the one that sends its tendon to the middle of the hand. Then this one. Look, make this a lot smaller. This one goes to the side. Give a little smoothing out. Yep, there you go. More smoothing. Obviously these ones won't be as obvious on the back of the hand, but they still need to be there. This guy goes like this. Actually, make that. Click choose. Shift D. This muscle is supposed to go a little bit further in this direction. I have misplaced that in the way it ends. And this one also. That's the thing. You start to look at it around and you realize that you've misplaced a lot of things. You're a little bit too far into the... There you go. That's much better. Yeah, that looks correct now. Want to make that transition smooth. Oh, and we cannot forget about the extensor pollicis longus and extensor pollicis brevis, which comes here on the side. So let's mask that. Mask it real good. There is a muscle right over here. Oh, clay tubes, yeah, that's why we got it correct. Muscle, which is the extensor carpi radialis brevis. Brevis goes all the way in, and his tendon goes in this area, but you can't see it because it's going to be occluded by the following muscles that I'm about to make. And here we go. The abductor pollicis longus is going to be this one right over here. And the tendon on this muscle is going to the thumb. Those ones that form this cavity right over here on the side of your thumb. And right next to it, it's gonna be extensor pollicis longus. And its tendon also right on this side. Let's use this higher subdivision to separate them. And again, to make straight lines, it's better to have it down like that. And you can hit one again to get them defined, to go over where you already went. going where I want it to go. I want this one to go to the middle. There you go. That's much better. Now we gained some real estate for these guys because they did seem a little short. Let's do this. And again, this is always about reestablishing form. You go around and you start realizing that it needs a little more, it needs to be tweaked to this side or to the other side, and that's the important part, is that you realize, you know, that you probably didn't lay them out at first the right way. If you didn't lay them out at first the right way, you know, fix them up. The human body is quite complex, and trying to get it right off the bat the first time, not always, it doesn't always happen. There you go. Now the damn standard. Damien standard. Good to have that there. Conius. This looks good. Okay, so I think we're done with the arms. Now I can probably try to give him some striations. So let's hit the key, the B key, to bring this, and then R. That's for rake. We'll bring it up all the way to 4. I don't like this in too much strength. Let's see how that goes. That's too big. Way too big. That's much better. So I'll form on this guy like this. That's how the striations go. On the bicep they go down. And the slower you do it, the better the shape is going to be. Not so stepped. Whoa, too much. You can tell it's thick there. There's a lot of geometry. This is nice and defined. The tricep, long head. That. And the short head, I mean the long head. Bring this back up. Starts from here. And this is more than anything is tendon, so I'm not going to do too much of a striation there. Seems like it's a little too much in that area, but I'll reestablish that. And there you go for this. And we are going to work on the Radialis now. We should go towards the inside. And I'm holding Alt while I'm doing this. I like to carve in instead of doing this. You guys may think it's like, well, there's not much difference. I'm like, well, I think there is. I like that look better. Calconius. Now the Radialis. Mask this because it's gonna go into a really, there you go, like that. Here's why I like it, is because I want to carve ridges, not add ridges into it. So I think that's why I like it that way. To have the Alt key, I mean, like rake, sends it into negative, and like that. And I stop right where the tendons begin. And the Pronator terrace. Got rid of the body right there by selecting my polygroup. There's a bigger model right over here. Another one, another one, another one. Like I said, this just become like, there's so many of them there, they just become one big belly. See that even right there, it all starts to look like just one big old mass. There's your bone. And the longus. And then this guy's, I'm going to mask this, mask that, just like this, and create this guy. Slightly, don't want to put too much pressure on it. There you go. I think that looks very good. Now I'm going to create the, by the way, I just hit, I was like that, and I just hit Control Shift and tap in the background. It shows them up. Let's do the deltoids. Let's mask the clavicle. Okay. And mask the pectoralis major. Theoretically, I could have just masked deltoid and reversed the selection, but I like to do things the difficult way sometimes, because that's just the way I am. Okay. All right. Okay, so with Alt, let's hit that, long strokes, gentle with it, not too much strength put into it. Not too much pressure, but I mean by that. And you can tell that you can probably use a little bit more geometry, because you can see that the strokes are not nice and smooth. That means that it's going in the wrong direction. See how the should go. If we would have done our strokes in this direction, they would have been fine, but that's not how the body goes, so we got to do them right. Now if we had enough like super dense geometry, then that point becomes mute at that point. Okay, I think that is done. We have our arms done, and on the next one we will just follow through with doing the legs. So let's make this bodies. So let's do this so we can show the arm. No hand, just arm. And I'm gonna quick save it real quick right there. Shift S to create a copy so we can show the back. And we can hit tab to show a little more. And there's the arm. Back. And I'm going to create my thumb now for the video. Snipping tool. Yes, I know I could actually do a rendering, but I'm not going to do that. So this is a lot faster and a lot easier. Control S, and I'm going to say thumb. Oop. Arms. And save it. Alright folks, that's all there is to it. I'll see you guys in the next video.